Draco almost looks disappointed at Ron's lack of reaction. I shake my head at him before I join Ron in his work. A few moments of silence pass until Draco speaks again. Nice and obedient, aren't you, Weasley? He spits out the word with mouth. I wonder if your little sister is as obedient as you are. Bingo. Ron freezes as he looks up, just as I do, into Draco's sneering face, alight with triumph now that he's succeeded in provoking Ron into a reaction. What do you mean? Ron asks stiffly. Draco grins. Oh, come on. I think you know what I mean. He stretches out his hands exaggeratingly, looking at his nails. Little Jennies. Little Jennies. Done a lot of growing up in the past few years. Don't think I haven't noticed it. Don't. Ron can barely get the words out, and he shoves my hand away when I put it on his arm. Don't you dare go near my sister. The miserable little bastard just laughs in reply. And what are you gonna do? And what are you gonna do about it if I do? Your family has to do exactly as we say if they want to live, let them stay alive. And that includes your pretty little sister. Ron moves so quickly and so suddenly that I'm not even aware of it until I see his bucket flying through the air, smacking the wall behind Draco, drenching him with water. Run! No! But he's already running. And before I can even get up to my feet, he's throwing the fist right into Draco's face. Ron! Stop it! But he grabs Draco by the front of the robes and hits him again. The pair of them are fighting, properly fighting, and Ron's hitting Draco, and Draco's hitting Ron. And I don't know why Draco isn't using his wand, but I'm so glad he hasn't thought about it. Because if he did, Ron wouldn't stand a chance. Don't smack! Ever smack! Not my sister, you! What is going on? I spin around to see Lucius standing in the now open doorway, looking only at me as if he expects me to answer his question. Draco and Ron both ignore him. I don't hear him. They just continue to hit each other with all their strength, kicking, yelling, punching. Lucius moves his gaze onto the pair of them, lip curled up in exasperation. Help me with these pair of idiots, will you? For a bizarre moment I think he's talking to me. But when he strides into the room and Bellatrix and Doloff follow him in, shutting the door behind them on the intrigued faces of the remaining Death Eaters in the adjoining room. Lucius brings out his wand and suddenly Draco, for a bizarre moment, I think he's talking to me. I thought I was talking to him here too. Anyways, Lucius brings out his wand and suddenly Draco and Ron are thrown away from each other and slamming into the ground. They both groan as they try to shift themselves from the floor. Lucius turns to me, one eyebrow raised. Would you care to tell me what's going on? I just stare at him, open-mouthed. Draco drags himself from the ground, a beautiful bruise blossoming over his right eye. He threw a bucket of water on me, he says furiously. The stupid bastard just went from me. I didn't do anything to provoke him, Father. Bullshit in your net, Malfoy! Ron shouts, dragging himself up too. There's a stream of blood coming from his mouth. It's true. Ron's not lying. Lucy's gaze slides back onto me as I speak up. He threatened. He said he was going to blackmail Ginny into. I trail off, feeling myself blush. I can't talk to Lucius about this. About that, excuse me. It just put so many unspoken things into the air. Lucius's mouth twitches into what looks like a smirk. Is that all? He turns to his son. Draco, you should learn to better control your temper. If some idiot chooses to attack you, Then that is exactly what your wand is for. A flush passes over Draco's face. Lucius ignores it and turns back to the door. Take Weasley back to his room, Antonin. He throws over his shoulder. The mudblood can finish this room by herself, I think. Wait! Bellatrix helps Draco to his feet, stroking his arm soothingly while looking at Lucius. Your son has been assaulted, Lucius, by a filthy blood traitor, no less. Surely that calls for punishment. Lucius turns back to her impatiently. Indeed, in normal circumstances it would. But the boy cannot be harmed. You know that. I know that. Bellatrix releases Draco's arm and walks over to me as she speaks. Believe me, I know that. But there's more than one way we can punish the boy. Sorry. She grips onto my arm. Oh God, I know that I should be grateful because this way she's not hurting Ron, but oh God, I'm just so sick of it all. Lucius looks at me, his face strangely tight. No! Ron begins to yell. Dolaf points his wand at him and magically lifts him up into the air, slamming him against the wall and keeping him there with invisible bonds. Don't touch her, you bastard! Leave her alone! Silencio. Dolaf's mutter cuts Ron's yell off. Bellatrix raises her eyebrows at Lucius, her face alight with challenge. He frowns at her, then turns to Draco, who's watching the scene almost hungrily. You. Out. He says shortly. Draco turns indignantly to his father. Why can't I stay here? I want to see. Are you questioning me? Draco's mouth closes like a trap, and he shakes his head sullenly. He turns and storms out of the room. You too, he says to Dolaf, whose face twists with rage. I beg your pardon. Out, Lucius says threateningly. You are not needed here. The boy is immobile, and the girl is unable to escape. Go back next door and attend to your guests. Why should I do what you say? Dolaf's voice raises with rage. Lucius regards him with a superior sneer. Because my standing outstripes your own, Antonin. As well you know. Dolaf glares at him murderously. Get it? Murderously. Sorry. Foreshadowing! No! I'm staying here. Spit flies out of his mouth as he speaks. I want to see if you can bear to bring yourself to harm your precious little mudblood, seeing as you couldn't bear to let her go the other night. Huh. Sorry. That how was just me being weird. Ha! God, what was that? Going crazy. Lucius's fingers tighten around his wand, but he does not raise it yet. I don't need to justify myself to scum like you, he says quietly. Dolaf blanches with rage and raises his wand. Get out, Antoine! Damn it, I was doing so well with the name! Bellatrix yells impatiently. This does not concern you! Go! Dolaf turns red with fury at the seeming loss of his ally, and with that one filthy look at Lucius, he turns and storms out of the room, slamming the door shut behind him with such a force that it shakes the door frame. Lucius and Bellatrix don't even watch him leave. A long silence spreads out as Bellatrix's fingertips rip into my skin. This is getting so awesome right now. This is unnecessary, Lucius says coolly. The boy knows not to misbehave again. Reluctant to hurt her, Lucius. Bellatrix stares at him. You do surprise me. Don't be ridiculous, he snaps. The girl means nothing to me. Then prove it, she counters triumphantly. She flicks her wand in the air and catches a small knife in her hand, handing it over to Lucius before gripping me by the right wrist, holding one arm behind my back and the other in front of me. Cut her. Ron struggles frantically against the bonds holding him to the wall. His mouth opens and closes as he screams at them silently. My gaze moves back up to Lucius, who watches me with a frozen face. Someone who didn't know him would think that he was indifferent to the situation. Of course, someone who didn't know him wouldn't think to look into his eyes. I don't know why he cares. When he last saw me, he let his bloody son torture me for hours. He himself cast the Cruciatus curse that threw me into unconsciousness and brought my memory back to me. Why does he care now? Bellatrix's breathing is so heavy on my cheek. Bellatrix's breathing is heavy on my cheek. If the girl means nothing to you, then prove it. She rolls the sleeve of my robe, exposing my arm. Cut her. I look up at Lucius, begging him silently. His gaze meets mine, full of things I don't think even he understands. His eyes are bottomless. They're the one window to his true self. He knows everything about him. He keeps everything about him so calm, so composed. Almost all the time, those cold, bottomless eyes are the only thing that ever give me an idea of what he's really thinking. And I can barely even see them. And I barely ever see them blank and empty, like I used to. He presses his lips together firmly, and he brings the knife to my arm. His face remains completely immobile as I mouth one tiny little word. Please. The muscle goes in his jaw, and there's a sharp, searing pain in my arm. I look down. His fingers press the knife down into my skin, opening it, bringing blood up to the surface. I don't make a single sound. I just move my gaze up again and look into his eyes as he looks into mine. The pair of us, as always, united by pain. That was an awesome thing. Did I go over? I'm gonna be so bad. Okay, didn't. Oh my god, that was awesome. I pull myself out of. Oh, this is different later. I pull myself out of the bath, wincing at my new wound on my arm, threatening to open up again. I unwind the now soaked and useless bandage from it, looking at the deep, raw cut that isn't even on its way to healing yet. The white ragged edges of it turn red, as even now, hours and hours later, new droplets of blood rise to the surface of it. And no wonder he wouldn't even look at me as he brought me to my room after he'd done it. He did the bandage up for me, though. I haven't used the healing potion, going against his muttered suggestion as he left, and I won't. Ever. I want this cut to scar. Perhaps it might compensate for what I'm feeling inside. I throw the bandage aside before pulling a towel down from the rail and wrapping it around myself. Picking up my lone... I don't know what that word's supposed to be. Picking up my lone lit candle from the bathroom floor, I walk through... Oh, it's just lone as in like one. Sorry. I walk through my bedroom and place it on the bedside table. Its dull, tiny light creates horrible shadows around my room, but any light is better than no light at all.